Good evening, my name is Caitlin McElroy and tonight I am joined with Michaela Downey. Thank you for being my local sporting hero on behalf of the Respect Project. I would like to start my interview by asking you some questions relating to your childhood, if that's okay.
Yep, go ahead.
So can you tell me whereabouts you grew up?
Just outside Newry. I was born in Banbridge and lived in Hilltown for a wee while as well, and moved to Newry when I was about 6. So I went to primary school in St Clair's. I went to Sacred Heart Grammar School, so just outside Newry, on a Friend Road. I was always a very active person. I have one brother and one sister, and everywhere where we lived, everybody was around the same age, so we all were always outside playing or being active, doing things that children maybe don't do so much of now. And it was great fun, and suppose I come from a bigger family with a lot of cousins and that, and they live on a farm, and was always there doing something, running around, and always doing something very active.
And how were you introduced to sports? What age did you start playing?
Always had a love of all sports. Suppose my main sport would be Gaelic football, and now whenever I started playing, it's not as popular as it is now, and there wasn't as many opportunities or experiences for people to play football. And how I actually started to play football was, believe it or not, I read an ad in your Reporter. This is true, actually. It was an ad for anybody that wanted to play football to go to the Abbey, not where the Abbey is now, or the old Abbey, on a Saturday morning. And I always had a big interest in GAA and particularly Gaelic football, because my family have a big interest in that. We would always have followed Down and all our local teams, and I thought, right, this is my opportunity, and I went, and that's how it started. And I suppose I'm a big Down supporter and a Down fan, but we ended up going to play in Armagh leagues against Armagh teams, because there was no football in Down for ladies until about 1994. So you're looking at me going, what age are you? You're back playing that age. But no, so that's kind of how it started, and then it kind of evolved from there, from playing in different clubs right through the county, and I wasn't fortunate enough to ever get the opportunity to play football in school, because it wasn't offered at that time.
No teacher encouraged you?
I suppose ladies football wasn't as popular as it is now, and it wasn't on a PE curriculum, and I did try many a time to say, like, let's play football here, and it was always sort of pushed aside, going, no, it's girls don't play football. And that doesn't seem that long ago now, but that's what did happen. And it was then, I suppose, just through playing club and county football, and then we went to university, and there was plenty of football there, and I've played on many different teams with Newry Bosco, and I played for Clonduff, and I played for Down, played for Jordanstown. I was fortunate enough to play for Ulster. I was also fortunate enough to represent Ireland international rules, and to win an All-Star award. So I've played football all my life, and I've really enjoyed it, but it started off from a Saturday morning kick around in the old Abbey school.
And has anyone inspired you? Any role models?
I suppose it goes way back to the coaches and the managers that were there at the time, who really invested their time and energy and effort into trying to promote ladies football, and it really started, I think there was 5 clubs in Down in 1994, and there's maybe something like 25 now. So it's come on leaps and bounds, and it's from the people, the volunteers in all the different clubs that felt, right, we can do something here. And so I wouldn't say there's one particular person. In school, yes, we didn't get the opportunity to play football as such, but we got opportunities for other sports. So the PE teachers in school would have been very much encouraging as well, and then my family would have been very much encouraging, because everybody was GAA mad in our house, and would have, they would have been the ones that would have left you to training and picked you up and when driving you all around the country, because you were too young to drive yourself or whatever. So there's been a lot of people that has helped my journey along the way.
And can you recall any major sporting events you took part in, and has any been your greatest achievement?
Suppose, like, I've been very fortunate in playing at the highest level that you can play in, and I've played in Croke Park, which was a big, massive honour, which I was always an ambition and dream of mine to get playing there, and was lucky enough to play in an All-Ireland final and win an All-Ireland final with Down in Croke Park. Ireland played Australia only ever once in the International Rules Series. It was 3 games and that we were fortunate enough to play in, and actually Mr. Burns was the manager of the team way back at the time, who's our principal in school now, and that I would take that as a highlight of my career, because at that point, you know, you were playing with probably the best players in Ireland, and you know, other than that, I've only been really playing against them. Down wouldn't have been a massive county at that time, you know, when you were playing against, you know, the best, the elite, and it was a great opportunity, and to win an All-Star award, to be recognised as one of the top 15 players in Ireland at that time, you know, was a massive achievement as well, and it's something, I suppose, now you can look back on it a wee bit more. At the time when you were playing, it was, you know, it was just you were playing. So hopefully that answers some of your questions.
Have you any tips regarding sports and its connection to physical and mental health?
I think sport and physical activity in general are one of the most important things that any young person or anybody should take part in. And there's so many benefits. Obviously, the physical benefits of taking part in physical activity or sport, but the social and the mental benefits cannot be underpinned at all, because there's just so many. If you look at how it improves people's confidence, improves their self-image, improves their concentration levels. You know, there's a lot of research now and studies that show that, you know, people that take part in sport and physical activity, you know, will do better in school, will do better in their exams. And I think that there's a sport or some form of physical activity out there for everybody, that if you enjoy doing something, you get so much out of it, and you know, the physical, social and mental benefits of sport are incredible. You know, going back to how it can improve people's mood, for instance, you know, and it helps with people that, you know, feel maybe anxious or depressed, and it just really clears your head. You know, if you've had a bad day and even you just go for a walk, clear your head, you know, it makes a massive difference. And you know, sport and physical activity can do so much for people.
Yeah. And can you give any advice to people considering having a sport as their hobby?
I really think everybody needs a sport as their hobby. Any sport, you know, obviously I love GAA and everything connected with it, but there's so many sports and so many physical activities out there that there is something for everybody. It doesn't have to be a competitive physical, you know, sport. There's recreational games, activities for everybody. But I think, you know, if you're active, you know, it can improve your life in so many ways, and it's really about developing lifelong habits now. So it's like, find a sport. You know, if you keep playing sports, there'll be one sport that you will enjoy.
And is there anything you would do differently?
in terms of sport?
Yes.
I suppose I've been very fortunate in playing in a lot of successful teams, and I've really enjoyed it. The only thing, I wouldn't do anything differently. I just wish it would have lasted longer. You know, maybe whenever I was growing up and playing sport, it wasn't as popular as it is now, and there's so many more opportunities now that that I wish I could maybe turn the clock back a wee bit and play longer.
And what way are you connected to sport now?
Well, I suppose I'm a PE teacher in St Paul's, and I coach the football teams up in St Paul's from year 8 to under 14, 16 and under 19, and love it, you know. And that's a GAA. Outside of school as well, I'm involved in working in a gym, and I take different classes and things like that as well. So I've a love of sport that will continue forever.
So I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for participating in this interview.
Well, no problem. Thank you, Caitlin. It was